Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of Special Emergency Pro Wrestling Show. We talk about Slammiversary. Slammiversary. We don't talk about TNA coverage, but we're going to talk about it. We're going to give TNA some equal amount of time like we do WWE and AEW. So this is main event work. So this is the Impact TNA Slammiversary review here on the Pro Wrestling Show. This is our Mercy review. So it was a Mercy special. So we had to do it. Coming up, we talking about this triple threat match between NXT's Trick Williams taking on TNA's Mike Santana and Joe Henry. Can the TNA wrestlers bring back the gold back home, or will Trick Williams be whooping that trick, keeping his championship alive? Speaking of that, a homegrown TNA star, AJ Styles, returns to TNA. Man, it's been almost 25 years. AJ Styles. We never thought AJ Styles would appear back on TNA, but he did. He's back, and he's better than ever. You never know. A lot of legends as well. Bully Ray coming out there, issuing a challenge. You won't believe what the challenge is coming up with Bully Ray. We get all this started here on the TNA Emergency Podcast Review Slammiversary here on the Pro Wrestling Show. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Pro Wrestling Show, a special edition of the Pro Wrestling Show. I'm your host, as always, Steve here. You can join us here on the Pro Wrestling Show. Join in the conversation using the hashtag Pro Wrestling here on Connect. This is a emergency edition of the review, and I'm here just to give you a little flavor. We're here talking about TNA wrestling. We ain't talking about TNA wrestling since we first got started on the Pro Wrestling Show way back, almost 10 years ago. We're here talking about it now. Is relevant now. Now, the plan is if TNA can land a deal, they was with Axis. If they can land a deal with Big Screamer or something like that, like a two-way, anything like that, we will consider bringing the TNA Ring Report back, like we do with everything else. We see WWE across all boards with USA Network, um, CW, and Netflix. So all those platforms are working as well. So big screamer like that. If TNA can land, we're hearing deals and stuff, rumors that TNA may be heading to either A&E, Tubi, or Fox Sports One. So one of those two places that will land TNA will be a good look for them and stuff. And we'll cover it if they can get a landing spot, or perhaps they on YouTube. We might get them a spot here and there. We might think about that and just expand from there. So look out for a important big news down the road, a couple from like a month from now, if we gonna consider that option going forward and how we will execute that moving forward. But we'll talk about the Choose Triple Threat match a little bit later on in the show. But we're gonna talk about this, the Countdown show. The Elegance brand, you may know Ash Elegance. I don't know the other lady. I know Ash from Elegance was Dana Brooke in WWE. Went against the Inspiration. When they was in WWE, they was known as the Iconic. Well, we kind of figured that the Inspiration was going to win the tag team championships. That wasn't the case. Inspiration came a little bit short tonight. Um, Not winning the women's tag team titles, knockout tag team titles. And we'll talk about the record attendance a little bit later on in the show on what went down as well. But we get to this right here. The system and Matt Cardona. We know that Matt Cardona and Brian Myers have history when they were in WWE as the Edgeheads. Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder going against Darkstale NXT. It was no brainer. The TNA homegrown talent was going to put them over, and that's what they did. Zack Ryder wins his match with his fellow former tag team partner, as well as Fandango and Eddie Edwards and his Edwards' wife Alicia. So we see that moving forward. I don't know what they're gonna do. I think we might see Hawkins and Ryder back together once again, and we'll see how that's gonna play out eventually for them heading that way and that towards another match that was considered a WrestleMania rematch down the road. John Cena was in attendance in WrestleMania in New Orleans. It was this Cedric Alexander versus Mustafa Ali. longtime rivals battle for the cruiserweight championship. Now, right, Mustafa having problems with his team. They're not on the same page, but maybe I was kind of was thinking the same thing. It was kind of a farce, and they was thinking the same page. You see right here, Mustafa Ali wins the match, but what's her name? She sacrificed herself for the greater good for Mustafa to win his match, which Mustafa did. Mustafa Ali used Tasha Steele to get the win. She took that move. She took it, and man, it was crazy. But I don't know what they're gonna move forward with this and how they're gonna move forward. But Mustafa Ali wins his match. Finally eluded him for quite some time to get that champ, take that monkey out of his back, not defeating Cedric Alexander, but he did tonight. Um, Looking forward to see what's next for Mustafa and Cedric moving forward. Another match that everybody was talking about and buzzing about was this match right here for the TNA Knockouts Championship versus the NXT Women's Championship as Masha Slamovic defending her championship against Jacy Jayne. Jacy Jayne um, come off the heels of Evolution, retaining her championship from Jordan Grace. Jacy Jayne's been on a roll, and I guess she's not trying to say she's not a transitional champion. She could say that tonight. And she defeated um, she defeated Masa. Yeah, so tonight by doing that to Masa Slamovic, making sure that she was the one that fell down, fell to the heels and toes. Masa Slamovic went down tonight, and Masa made. I think Masa was just there transition. I don't know what's next for Jacy Jayne or what's going to go down for Jacy, but you can tell Masa Slamovic did not lead with both championships. Jacy Jayne did, and she'll be having both championships coming up on NXT coming up this Tuesday. Look for down the NXT ring report tomorrow. Well, as this Tessa Blanchard goes one on one with Indy Hartwell. This was a grudge match happened to happen. Tessa versus Indy. Indy Black, Indy Hartwell in the victory over Tessa, proving to Tessa that she doesn't need Tessa no more. Tessa Blanchard going spiral crazy. Tessa Blanchard might not have to get some help because she's gonna really, really need it because of what had happened and what went down. I think Tessa Blanchard might have to be scrolling out. Tessa Blanchard was a it factor in TNA, being the world champion, being the women's champion as well. But we saw how that went down and stuff, how that be. You know, we saw when it went down tonight, being that way. So we see that Tessa saw what she saw tonight and how she reacted to how it went and stuff. But in Tessa Blanchard lost to Indy Hartwell in the middle of the rain tonight. Indy Hartwell had a red hand raised in victory. She had it tonight. Indy Hartwell had a friend out. I don't know who that was. She helped her out. So we see that Tessa and we'll see down the road for Tessa Blanchard and everybody else. Well, speaking of that, was this um Leon Slater went against Moose. Leon Slater versus Moose 1-on-1. Leon Slater winning the X Division Championship, getting the respect of Moose and then AJ Styles coming out of nowhere and congratulating and giving his endorsement. AJ Styles, right here, we'll talk about AJ in a little bit, but this is Leon Space's moment. He pinned Moose. Moose put the championship around Leon, and Leon got embraced by AJ. AJ Styles came out there. Ain't this fitting that AJ Styles was the first X Division champion into the current X Division champions, just like from the future, the past to the future. Leon Space did it tonight. He did it by defeating Moose the way he did. And Leon Space might be the future, the new face of the X Division, with the help of AJ Styles and Moose, giving him that seal of approval. So bigs up to Leon and bigs up to AJ Styles return. We don't know what AJ is going to be doing in TNA. AJ's going to bring in his madness or what. We have to wait and see. But AJ Styles coming back to Impact TNA. AJ making his mark and making the mark as well, endorsing Leon Slater as the new face of the X Division. Well, we get to this right here, and we mean right here, the tag team championships were on the line right here. And the Rascals, the Nimmons, the Hardys in the first class. The Hardys said if they don't get the job done, they're gonna retire. And the Hardy Boys came up to their promise, and they did so, winning the tag team championships. The Hardy Boys are the new World TNA World Tag Team Championships and do it on their own. Well, an unexpected visitor came out of nowhere. Unexpected visitor was Bullet Ray. Bullet Ray coming out there to inform the new tag team champions that, hey, you don't got to retire. We want y'all to keep being champions. We just want one more last run. One more last go. It'll be the Hardys versus us at Bound for Glory. If you allow that to happen. The Hardy Boys accepted. The Hardy Boys will be going against the TNA champions. I don't know, Dion Dudley, able and really primed to go. But we're going to see that one more time, almost 25 years. As the Hardy Boys and them have competed. We'll see it one more time. Seeing that WrestleMania, now they want to do it. The Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys all retire. Might well bring Edge and Christian back since they in AEW. So that's unfortunate. That ain't gonna happen. But we get to see nostalgia at our very best with the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys doing it one more time for the tag team titles and retiring on their own terms rather than an old 80-year-old man telling them that you got to retire. So good for the Hardy Boys and the Dudleys. We'll see if we know the Hardys and the Dudleys will we're gonna go do, but we'll see how that's gonna go forward, moving forward and stuff like that. Also, too, we meant to make mention of an honorable mention right here. That right here we see Jake something and Steve Macklin, Mass Warner versus Rilla Z, Jake Zilla Fatu and Joel Bishop. We saw so two makes his debut. He did, and they lost to Jake something, Steve Macklin, and Max Werner. Enzo coming out there, saying his props once again, being Enzo. But as you see right here, this crowd, TNA is trying to grow their crowd like they used to be. They had their biggest attendance in almost 15 years. Right here, this is the record right here. We want to show you right quick. We can remove the ticker right quick. 7,623 individuals sold out. That sold out for how that was. It was real big for Impact doing that. And I'm like, well, I mean, you're close to 10,000, so you might be doing some right on how that's going. So hey, we'll see. But we saw all the night Jeff Hardy winning the tag team championship. Um, so could be his last match. Who knows what Jeff Hardy got going? Well, we get to this right here, the main event right here. Trick Williams, the NXT out WWE outsider, coming in the TNA as the champion, taking on TNA's Mike Santana and Joe Henry. Want the championships back, bring it home to the company. Were they able to do so? You be the judge and you tell me. Well, this wasn't the night for him. Trick Williams came out there dressed as Booker T, paying homage to Booker T. And Booker T wore that in TNA back when, and Trick Williams doing the same thing. And Trick Williams doing what he does best with that trick. And Trick Williams defeated both Mike Santana and Joe Henry. And Trick Williams told the president to raise his hand. And President Knight didn't want to raise his hand, but he had to. It's the new face of the company. Trick Williams, a contracted WWE star, but when you think about it, it was contracted stars from Trick Williams to Jacy Jayne winning their belts, and they did, and look what happened. And TNA's in a pickle. They got to figure out how they're going to get those belts out of those two because they're NXT stars and they're contracted to WWE, be WWE stars. So you got to see how that's going to play out eventually. Trick Williams. retains the TNA championship over Joe Henry and Mike Santana to end the show. All right, we move from the TNA Ring Report to Wrestling Hot Topics. On Wrestling Hot Topics, we talk about this right here. As you see, Bound for Glory is coming to Lowell, Massachusetts. I think WWE is coming as well. So they'll be near the Boston area and stuff for TNA, and they're going to be coming in and making things popping. So could we see Mike Santana finally win the TNA championship? I heard his story. He was on Ariana Martin talking about his story, and I think he had a phenomenal story and stuff. But we will have to wait and see what that phenomenal story would be. But we see could he win the championship back in 10 in back from at TNA? I think that's what the goal is going to be for them to do. If I was them, I would do that. But we'll see for Bound for Glory because Trick Williams is riding high as the TNA champion. I can tell you that right now. But could we see AJ Styles challenge Trick Williams? Who knows? We have to wait and see on that one. Also too, we forgot to make mention this week pro wrestling show that Buff Bagwell. I don't know if we did or did not, but Buff Bagwell, wrestling legend, went he got his foot amputated. He's no longer having he's down to one knee, one leg. Buff Bagwell, WCW Tag Team Champion. Buff is the stuff. Buff Bagwell entertained a lot of people. Was a part of the NWO. Buff Bagwell was a homegrown WCW star from the very beginning. As you can tell, he hit Dark Side of the Ring, but Buff said that the car accident nearly 5 years ago led him to get the surgery, and Buff seeing what he had to go through. And we wish here, like we said, I think we talked about, but we didn't touch. We touched on a little bit, but we wish Buff Bagwell speedy recovery. I'm on Buff Bagwell, one of the all-time greats and stuff on everything he did. So we wish Buff that here. Don't forget, tonight we'll have the Raw Ring Report a little bit later on. After Raw, we'll get coverage and highlights on what went down on Raw tonight. So look forward to seeing that on the Raw Ring Report coming your way here on the Pro Wrestling Show on our live screen. You want to hear that and see that tonight. But I'm gonna leave you with Trick Williams, Trick Willie, retained the TNA Championship. Trick Williams, you'll see him on the NXT Ring Report tomorrow. Look forward to seeing what he's gonna be having in store. You know, you're gonna have something in store with him and bring him up down the road on how all this is gonna progress. Well, thank you all for watching this edition of the Pro Wrestling Show. I've been your host, Kendrick Dixon, and so long. We'll see you later on tonight for the Raw Ring Report here on Pro Wrestling Show.